Hello, everybody, and welcome to Club Fuck It Bucket. We are streaming from my living room. You never know where we're going to stream from because I just say, like, fuck it, it's time to do it. And that's where I am. So we're streaming from my living room. And today we have an amazing guest to talk to us about a moment in her life when conventional wisdom said, don't do that thing. And she was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to do it. And I cannot wait to share her story for her to share her story with you. So Heather, come on out and join us.
Hello, hello.
I'm
Hi,
so
nice
excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
If you don't know Heather, find her, connect with her, shout out in the comments that you're here and say hello, ask questions. We're going to have a pretty interactive day today. But I have to ask, Heather, who's the real star of the show who's hanging out right over your shoulder there?
Yeah, it's usually this guy. He always steals the spotlight. This is Poncho. He's my little coworker. So we stay buddies all day long, and he'll probably migrate here and there. If we're lucky, he'll make an appearance on his back and just lay there, being
That's
extra
perfect.
cute for no reason.
Well, just so you know, I have my
There you
coworker,
go.
Argus, with us too.
You have
Argus, say
to.
hi.
You absolutely have to.
The look he's giving me right now is like, you just hush. So Heather, thank you so much for joining us. You have like this amazing, an amazing story, but what I really, really love about what you do is you've taken everything that you've experienced in life, which is a lot, and you actually feed those experiences and the knowledge that you've gained to your clients to help them succeed more, faster, at higher levels, and in a way that's really like, hi Lauren, that like keeps them kind of heart-centered and focused on themselves. So I'm so excited to hear about that. I know that you have a story to share with us about a time that you just said, fuck it, I'm going to do the thing. So I'm going to hush and let you start, but I'll probably interrupt for questions. And I hope that our audience does too.
Yeah. So first of all, I love the premise of this entire show, Club Fuck It. Like, we all belong in this club. Let's be real. Like, this is just a part of our life. If you aren't failing, you aren't living. It's just part of it. So
That's
yeah,
right,
Club.
too.
Nice. There you go. See, if you aren't failing, you aren't living. Another one of my sayings is the road to success is littered with failure. Like, you cannot succeed without any failure. So my story, my particular like fuck it moment was when I started my business, actually. So I was in severe burnout, didn't realize what that was because this was 2015 when it first started really hitting me that the burnout was there. So I made a choice in my career to switch from what I had typically done, which was executive leadership in corporate. So I'd been in high-level international operations. I was running 4 sites in 4 different countries, traveling all over. I mean, it was a big, big role for me. And I hit a wall one day when my director, who I actually personally love, had a conversation with me with my annual performance review. Is like, you did a great job last year. This is perfect. So what can we do more this year? And that year that he was referencing was when we talk about like profound output, it was my literal heart and my soul and my essence and my everything, right? And so he's like, what more can we do this year? And I'm like, oh, I can't fucking do this.
Nothing.
Yeah. So that was my moment of like bucket of cold water, and it started the process for me. And that was in like January of 2015. So I remember sitting there, coming home to my now wife and just being like, this is not working out. And that was like a real moment of identity crisis almost, because I started in corporate at the age of 19 and had like this meteoric rise into leadership. I was a supervisor in a Fortune 10 company by the age of 20. Like, it was just wild, like how quickly I moved up. Right.
Can I just ask about that really quickly? Because I also have that kind of personality where I come in someplace and I like blow the roof off, right?
Oh, right.
But
Yeah.
for years, and even now at 43, and maybe it's because I look so young, just like you, people will be like, well, I don't take you seriously because you're so young. Like, you don't have the life experience. You don't have the, like, in some cases I can kind of see that, but did that present particular challenges to you that you've kind of like learned lessons from and brought along with you?
Absolutely. So ageism was something that I experienced significantly in the first, like, I would say 10 years, because it wasn't until I turned 30 that it started like, oh, you're 30. Well, you're still young, but you're 30. Like, you kind of get it now. It was around the age of 32 that I noticed it really started to stop, where people are like, okay, well, you're seasoned now. Like, you get it a little bit. So, I mean, ageism was a massive part of my trials and tribulations in corporate. Now, like I said, I'm apparently seasoned. So it's more of a, oh, you're, in your mid 30s. This is like, you get it. Like, you've been beat up a little bit by life. That's cool. You've got some experience here to share. So yeah, and then I would say that is a big part of what lent to that burnout factor, because my, again, director, amazing guy, just didn't quite compute, what it took to be 30-year-old me performing at a space that was more, my peers were all in their mid 40s. I was the youngest person on that team by a decade. So to perform at that level and then to be told, what more can you do? Yeah, bucket of cold water for real, right in that moment. So it took me about another 2 years to figure out that I needed to quit. I just not do this employment thing anymore. And I was in a position where I decided to leave corporate. I took like another job outside of corporate in a small business. Almost like chasing that, I don't want to say like perfect employment, but trying to figure out why I didn't fit. Like, what was it that made me not fit in all these types of positions and careers? And I'd hit this wall at 2 years in every position where I'm like, this is just not it. Like, I can't do this anymore. So it was this like repetitive situation that I was in. Right. And so I had an opportunity, because I actually lost my job in 2018. The transitory position that I took didn't end up working out, obviously for the best. So I was in the situation where I had this opportunity, and it was a 6-figure role that was being offered to me. And my sister, my best friend, my wife did not weigh in on this one. She actually was like, do what you need to do. I support whatever decision in either way, right? But I had like 3 or 4 or 5 people be like, well, why can't you just take the job and build your business on the side? Like, that's not unreasonable. And I'm like, have you done that?
Right.
Have you succeeded in that? Because it's not really that easy, especially if you're working in corporate.
Right. And especially if you're still recovering from burnout, right? Like, you burned yourself out, and they were telling you to get into a situation that would put you directly back into that, which is, I'm doing everything I can, but I still need to do more.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was actually, again, like, I didn't realize I was burned out until I was almost out of burnout. So it took me 5 years from that point. So it was only like 2 years ago. So I was still actually starting my business. I was running my business, and I didn't realize that I was still experiencing burnout, and I was still struggling with burnout. So it was this, like, looking back, obviously retroactively, I can see what was going on. I can see what my challenges were, but I didn't realize it. And all I knew in that moment was there was no feasible way for me to take this 6-figure position and still build my own thing, whatever that thing was going to be. And so I turned it down, and I said, no, this isn't going to be for me. I appreciate the opportunity. And the most interesting thing happened in that moment. I'd been building my business for about a year and a half at that point. When I made the decision to not do the thing, my business took off, because it was a choice that I was making, which meant that I now had to follow through on my own decisions.
So you had to believe in yourself, right? And you had to channel all of your energy to that instead of splitting it across, multiple. So let me ask you, I'm sure that you obviously had a lot of people who were like, this is a stupid decision, blah, blah, blah. But when that happened and your business took off, did you have people who, like, in your community who were like, I knew you could do it?
I'm actually pretty fortunate in that the people that did come forward with that, supportive, I knew you could do this, you're so smart, da 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 da, for the most part weren't the naysayers, which I think was a moment of personal reflection for them, and understanding that the limitations they were placing were personal limitations for them and not my limitations. And that's a key difference there.
Wait, can you just say that again? Because I want everyone, like, if you're listening, hear this.
Yeah.
Hear this, because this is what happens in Club Fuck It Bucket is people who don't understand. Yes, louder for people in the back, like mic drop. People who do not understand what we affectionately call fucketeers, who are like, fuck it, gonna do it, is that the limitations, say it again.
The limitations that other people place on you are about them and not you. So you're a mirror, right? So if they're saying, well, why can't you do it this way? My first question is, did you do it? Like, because if you didn't, then not to like discount your opinion, because there's definitely wisdom that many people bring to the table from multitudes of lived experiences. But unless you've walked that path, it makes it hard for you to speak from experience and that muscle memory, and actually seeing what happens when your plans don't go as you hope they will. And then how do you navigate around that? So again, it's that mirror effect where they're putting their own personal limitations on your lived experience, and it just doesn't work that way.
It just doesn't. Okay, so your business took off. We have about 3 minutes left. I would love to hear if you can just tell everybody, what is it exactly that you do with your clients? How do you help them? How do you support them? What does that look like? If you're working with Heather, like, do you get angel wings and a halo and like magical abilities?
Yep. Rainbows shoot out of my mouth. We have cookies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and lose weight the whole time. I mean, that's like exactly how my work goes. Definitely.
That's awesome. All tacos all the time.
Yeah. Oh man, tacos. I need tacos. I haven't had those in a minute. So for me, I actually have two sides of my business. I have successfully scaled about a half a dozen different agencies in different industries. So virtual admin, social media. I've done a couple of marketing agencies, advertising agencies, virtual admin agencies. So like an agency model is really what I specialize in. And so what that agency model is it teaches people both how to strategize and implement. That's the two pieces. Because most times what will happen is there's a business owner that's like, oh, I need an OBM, which is an online business manager, and I need a VA, and I need a designer, I need all these different people, but they're missing that strategic implementation of how to work with these people, how to implant them in their business. And then not only just the people, but how do they like survive and do their job without you telling them what to do? That's the other piece of it. So
it's like when a dog chases a car and it finally catches the bumper, it doesn't know what the fuck to do with it, right?
No idea.
And that's what you get these agency owners, and they like hire all these people and all this help, but then they don't know what the fuck to do with them. So you're that missing piece of like,
okay. I call myself like a conductor, where I bring the whole symphony together and I pull everybody in and I just orchestrate everything. And again, like I said, I've done this repeatedly over half a dozen times, scaled agencies into high 6, 7, multi-7 figures, including my own, where I've just seen the patterns over and over and over again. And it comes down to understanding, knowing what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And those are the three pieces that if you don't have that in place for your staff, good luck. You're going to be the bottleneck every time.
I say that to founders all the time. You are the bottleneck. You are the problem.
Absolutely.
But they don't want to hear that. And they also don't want to hear their baby is ugly. So, okay. So then what's the other side of the business?
The other side of the business is, you mean as far as like the implementation piece or like the strategy piece?
Sorry. I guess I was thinking, because you were saying like your business is in two different buckets. So
it is in two different buckets, and it's between the strategy and the implementation. So like I'm the one that specializes primarily in strategy. So I high level help you look at what you're going to do anywhere up to 3 to 5 years, because it gets hard to plan out after you hit, after that 3-year mark, because shit happens, life happens, things change. But so I do primarily the strategy part, and then I still have a business management agency that's part of what I do, which is called the Agency Blueprint. And that business management side of it is the implementation. I give people the key players that they need to do what they need to do. So it's almost like staffing meets strategy.
It's like a fractional agency scaler or something like that.
That's what I am.
Super cool. Yeah. I love this.
Yeah.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited. Like, I feel like you hit LinkedIn like a fucking comet or something, right? Like you weren't there, and then all of a sudden you were everywhere. And I was like, who is this person? This is amazing. And I think maybe Lauren one of the Laurens introduced us.
Yeah, it was Lauren. I affectionately call her
Lefkowitz?
L1.
Oh yeah,
Lauren.
L1 and L2, right? Yeah. So tell everybody really quickly, where can they find you? Obviously now on LinkedIn is like the place.
Yeah, LinkedIn. So fun story. When you say that I hit LinkedIn like a train, I built my business offline for 5 years. So all my work was done through referrals, word of mouth, networking, relationship building. So I've actually hit the internet as in its totality is what I call it, my internet debut. I didn't even have a website. I just
Oh my
did things
God. So
based
you
on
went from like
portfolios.
Luddite to LinkedIn star
Yeah,
within a
yeah,
month, which is just crazy.
yeah,
Lauren,
yeah.
I'm not going to make it longer, and here's why. Because look, here she is weighing in. Because we get the snapshot, everyone's curious. They want to get to know Heather and the other guests. And then we have like this whole plethora of people in our community who do amazing podcasts, who like
Yeah.
will dig in and take the time. So we've got to get you on a couple of those, like Tanya Bugbee. You've got to be on hers because her whole thing is sharing your story, and you have such an interesting background. So, but we're at time now. So Heather,
Yeah.
thank you so much. This was wonderful to
Thank
have you.
you.
I'm so glad to get to meet you. And everyone, if you want to be a guest on Club Bucket Bucket, hit me up in my DMs. Watch us here every Wednesday and Friday at 1:15 Eastern Standard Time. And now go out and just do the thing. Have a great weekend.